Hi guys, you're all very welcome to this LGFA Club Leadership Series webinar. Just before we begin, if you want to ask a question during the presentation, you can type into the chat box, and you'll get the opportunity to engage throughout as well. And anything you want to say can be put into the chat box as well. And if you can't hear or see at any stage, we'd advise you to leave the webinar and join back in. You're very welcome to this Club Leadership Series webinar. Tonight we're going to look at my place on the Administrator Pathway. My name's Niall Lorraine. I'm Head of Volunteer Development with the LGFA, and I'm delighted to be joined by my colleague Leah here tonight. Leah, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name's Leah Doyle. I'm the North Leinster Development Officer. I'm just here to give Niall a hand. So any questions, I'll just put them into the chat and sure we'll get to them either throughout or at the end. We'll have a discussion.
Thanks very much, Leah. And as I say, Leah's here to, I suppose, help with the webinar tonight. We're going to look at the Administrator Pathway. It's obviously a new initiative with the LGFA. So we're going to maybe explain in a bit of detail what the Administrator Pathway is, and then we'll maybe look at how you can get involved. So in terms of what we feel the Administrator Pathway is, there's an idea that success doesn't just happen on the pitch. That strong teamwork off the pitch can be reflective on the pitch. So it's really, really important to have effective administrators of all activities in the association across club, county, provincial, and national levels. The Administrator Pathway to us is a self-led development initiative. And I suppose it's self-led because we lead such busy lives. We can't all devote an hour here and an hour there and an hour everywhere else to go into a training course, go into a workshop, sitting on a webinar. But I'm very thankful you're all on here tonight. But sometimes that's not possible. So the Administrator Pathway allows people to engage with learning and engage with learning about their own officer role at their own pace. It's aimed at supporting volunteer administrators at their own level. So again, it's developed for the individual officer. So we've got workshops at club, county, provincial, and national level, and allows people to receive support at a time when they need it and specific to their own role. Which I suppose because we're such a small support group in terms of staff, it's not always possible to get to every county all the time. But with the Administrator Pathway, we can do that. I suppose the education that we're providing through the Administrator Pathway as well, it aims to increase all our administrators, all our volunteer officers' capacity to undertake their role and to build confidence in their ability to fulfill that role as well. And from our point of view, our administrators, our volunteer officers, and our volunteers in general have always played a really, very vital part in the development and the delivery of ladies Gaelic football. And without our volunteer officers, administrators, and volunteers generally, the sport wouldn't be where it is today. And that's true with most community activities and events. They really struggle to run smoothly, and in most cases they probably wouldn't run. So like volunteers are so crucial to our sport. And I know obviously myself and Leah are coming at this from a staff perspective, but Leah, you're obviously operating in Leinster. And volunteers are really, really vital to most things you do as well, aren't they?
Yeah, like without volunteers, like most of our days, like the likes of festival days and stuff wouldn't happen if we didn't have the volunteers. So they literally without them you wouldn't have the likes of development days for girls to play football, and even on match days people at gates and stuff. Like so many volunteers help keep everything running in clubs, whether that's the club down the road, provincial, national, anything at all, your county. So important to keep
Yeah,
everything going.
yeah, exactly, Leah. And when you think of your provincial executive, they're all volunteer administrators. Our counties are all run by volunteer administrators, and our clubs are all run by volunteer administrators as well. So, like in short, they're crucial, they're critical to the success of the sport. So in terms of the volunteer pathway, the administrator pathway, sorry, and where that comes into play, there are three different phases to the pathway, and they spell out the acronym AIM. So our aim is that administrators will activate themselves into LGFA administration and LGFA education. So that's the first phase of the pathway, and we'll talk about that in a wee second about what that exactly is. The next stage of the pathway is we hope that administrators will invest in the knowledge in their own officer role. So we've developed a module for every single specific officer or committee role that happens at club, county, provincial, and national level. And then the final part of the pathway, which we hope will become a sort of annual event, or even more regular than that, a regular event anyway, will be that volunteer administrators will maintain their skill set and develop themselves as officers and develop themselves personally within the association. So that would include webinars, courses, conferences, and different modules, topical modules such as what we're doing here at the minute, our winter leadership series, our club leadership series. We've got our county leadership series as well, and we do some work provincially and nationally at this time of the year too. So that's all part of the maintain phase. As we said, the activate phase consists of an introduction to the LGFA module, and that'll hopefully provide a background to the structures of the Ladies Gaelic Football Association. It'll also, I suppose, let people know exactly what their role is as a volunteer administrator, the different policies and procedures that are there to help them, and the different documents and different pieces that are there to support volunteer administrators as well, such as the official guide, our strategic plan, all that kind of stuff. It touches on it all in the introduction to Ladies Gaelic, the LGFA module. Sorry, that module must be completed on Cover, which is the Gaelic Games e-learning platform. And once you do that, that opens up access to the next set of modules as well. So while you can go in and you can take a look at all the modules in the pathway from the start, you can't actually complete any until you do the Activate module. So we hope that this is like the stopping off point for all our volunteer administrators and all our administrators in general. I suppose it's good to give people a grounding in what it is to be part of the LGFA, what the LGFA stands for, and I suppose what we're all about before you actually go into to look at what your role's about. The invest section then of the pathway, the invest phase, that contains all your introductory modules. And again, it's done on Clubber, the Gaelic Games e-learning platform. For each administrative role at club, county, provincial, and national level, and I'll show you some screenshots of again what that looks like on Tubber. So sometimes participants can complete the module for the role that they're doing at the moment, or one that they think they might want to do in the future. And again, upon completion of that module, so for each unit, so if you do a club officer role, say you do your club secretary module, the maintain modules for that unit will then appear in the next available section. So again, once you complete your activate phase and your invest phase, then you can move on to the maintain phase and go through the sort of topical modules. And again, that section covers webinars, courses, self-led modules that we'll put up there from time to time as well, and then even in-person events such as the club leadership development program, and also I suppose our county officer conferences, our provincial and national officer education there as well. So the idea is that that'll supplement I suppose what you're learning about your specific role to give you skills to be able to operate across whatever unit, whatever club, county, province you're involved in. And the hope is that all our administrators will engage with at least one part of the maintain phase annually. So at least one module, at least one workshop, at least one webinar in that section annually to keep themselves upskilled in their role. So it's great that you guys that are on the night, you're hitting that box straight away. Just to give you a flavour of how that looks on the pathway, we've got our activate phase here, and say invest as your introductory modules, and maintain then is the sort of club leadership, county leadership, provincial leadership, and national leadership workshops, courses, webinars that we run. Again, just to give you is breaking it down unit by unit. You can see there in the activate phase, we've got the introduction to being an officer or a committee member. Then in your invest phase, you've got getting started as a club chairperson, getting started as a secretary, treasurer, PRO, registrar, children's officer, club coaching officer, club county board delegate, club disciplinary officer, and club committee officer, general club committee officer. So this isn't just aimed at someone who takes on a lead role in a club either. It's aimed at anyone who's involved at any level in the club, just to give them a grounding in their role. And you can see some of the different workshops, webinars, and self-led modules that we have currently developed in the maintain phase of the club pathway. So leading, managing, and governing your club, leading effective meetings, getting work done in Office 365. I believe that's actually a self-led module. Volunteer recruitment and retention, operating effectively as one club. And preparing and running your AGM, and rules, procedures, fundraising, and event management, and then lifestyle balance as well. So there's some that are relating to your role, or sorry, your club. There's some that helps you in your club, and there's also some modules there that help you as a volunteer, as an administrator, and generally just even in whatever walk of life you're good at. For the county, it's very similar. You can see there the three different phases, the different modules that are available in each phase, and you can see just the maintain phase has a whole host of different modules, because obviously a club and county officer's needs are slightly different, but you can see some of them are the same, such as your lifestyle balance and things like that there, conflict resolution. They're there for county officers as well. So again, there's some there that are based on a role you might undertake with your county, but there are some there as well to help you, I suppose, in just in general as well. Um, for the province, same thing. We've got our different officer modules in the invest section, and then we've got our provincial webinars and our provincial courses and all that kind of stuff there as well. So again, this is quite similar to the county officer one, but there are some specific ones for provincial officers there too. And then finally, we've got our national pathway, and this is, I suppose, slightly different, as because we have a small number of people, I suppose, involved at a national level. We've got our national managing committee and then our national subcommittees. These modules are actually available to people who have been selected or elected onto those committees, or as I say, management of the LGFA so far. So again, this is prospective people who even want to go as far as the national president will be undertaking these modules as part of their pathway as well. The big hope for us, and the big difference, I suppose, with the pathway, in terms of what we do now. So at the moment, we have the Club Leadership Development Programme that we run in conjunction with GAA and Camogie and the rest of Gaelic Games. We have webinars that we run, I suppose, on an annual basis in the winter. We have the different programs and initiatives that we run for administrators at the moment, and I suppose a lot of those focus on club development rather than volunteer development. The idea of the pathway is that you will be able to track how you're progressing on the pathway, what you've actually completed, and hopefully, in a number of years or months even, you'll have almost like a CV of officer education that you've done already. A bit like our coaching pathway and our refereeing pathway, that people know exactly, I suppose, where they've gone from and where they want to go to. So as you complete a module, a badge will appear on your profile on Tubber for each module completed. As I said, you have to complete the Activate module for those badges to appear, because you don't get a badge for any arrest until you've completed the first part of the pathway. So that's the big difference that we're bringing with the pathway. It's self-led. It can be completed, I suppose, as and when needed, so just in time, for our volunteer officers, and then we can track our process. When you go for a position, maybe in the future, say you want to take on your club chairperson or even county chair or county secretary, something like that there. Well, now you have some evidence as to, well, I've actually went and looked up the role and spent a bit of time researching the role and educated myself on what exactly this entails. As well as that, any officer that's feeling apprehensive about where they fit in, or what exactly they should be doing, or maybe they haven't seen a role description, or they haven't maybe been given and filled in exactly on what they should be doing in terms of the role. This gives them clarity. It gives them, I suppose, the tools to be able to do the job from scratch, instead of relying on someone who maybe learned it from someone else, who maybe learned it from someone else, who maybe wasn't doing the job entirely to the fullest either. So there's a couple of real benefits to taking part in the pathway and engaging in the pathway. So from your point of view as an officer, what we would like you to do is, first of all, register on Tubber. So you can create an account on the Gaelic Games Learning Platform. That's Tubber. I think it's changed its name recently to Tubber. So if you look up Tubber Gaelic Games, it'll Gaelic Games Learning. It'll bring you to that website. Use your personal email for that account, as your learning's personal to you. And I know that's maybe counterintuitive, because we asked you to use official emails for a lot of other things, but with your Tubber account, because it's all about learning, you don't want to pass it on from one secretary to the next club secretary, if you know what I mean, because that's learning that you've done and they haven't. So use your personal your personal account to register on Tubber. And if you don't have an account, you can register there on www.learning.ga.ie. The administrator pathway landing page can be found on Tubber as well. So again, if you do a quick Google search for LGFA Administrator Pathway, it'll bring you to either the LGFA's website, when you can go to the pathway that way, or it'll bring up the Tubber page as well, and you can go straight to the landing page. So if you search within Tubber as well, once you go on to the Tubber site and you click search, you can see the search bar up in the top corner there. If you click on that, you can also find it that way. But you're looking for the LGFA Administrator Pathway, and that'll bring you to the landing page. When you go to the landing page, it'll give you the three sections. It'll give you the three sections. So it's activate, invest, and maintain. And to start your learning, click on the activate stage by completing the introduction to the LGFA module. So you can see on the picture there as well, there's a wee tile for every single module. So you can see that one. When you click on activate, it'll drop down a menu and it'll give you a brief description of the module. And the tile then will say introduction to the LGFA. If you click on that tile, it'll bring you to the actual module page. So I've got a short video I'm going to let you see here, and it might just explain a wee bit more in depth about what exactly you'll see when you hit the landing page. So hopefully you can hear this.
With the activate phase, officers can access the resources and modules that come along with that phase. In this case, it is the introduction to LGFA module. Once a user clicks on the module tile, they will be brought to that course to begin. Once a user has completed the Activate module, they will receive an LGFA Administrator Pathway Activate badge. It is important to note that until users have obtained their Activate badge, they cannot complete the Invest or Maintain phases of the pathway. The same is true for the Maintain phase. In order to complete a Maintain phase module, users must complete the Activate phase and the Invest phase and have received badges for both.
There you go. So hopefully, I don't sound too proper when I'm explaining that. Hopefully, you get the gist. I was trying to use my official language for that one, Leah, but hopefully, you get what I was talking about. That's what the landing page looks like, and that's I suppose the drop down menus, and you can see the tiles there as well. So once you complete the Activate phase, then in the Invest phase, your Invest and Maintain phase will all look like the picture on the screen at the moment. So there'll be 4 different tiles: the club officer, county officer, provincial officer, and national officer, and it'll also tell you which phase you're involved in. So for this case, it's the Invest phase. So when you click on those tiles, that'll actually bring you to a list of modules this time, and that'll be your introduction to being a club chairperson, introduction to being a county secretary, introduction to being a provincial treasurer, introduction to being the national president. And once you click on one of those, that'll give you the module title and the phase of the pathway that you're accessing. Once you click on the tile, it'll bring you up to the course page. And if you click on Go to Course, it'll bring you straight to the module. And that page will also give you a short description of what to expect in the module as well. Say once you complete the Activate stage, you can move to the Invest modules relevant to your role at club or county and national level. So you can see on the screen there the different tiles for the different modules as well. So that's the club one. And then finally, the Maintain phase. I suppose resources in that section can be engaged with annually to maintain your own skill set and help you develop as an officer and in personally as well. You know, when you can see the different modules that we have up there. Again, are you prepared? Your club's critical incident plan, managing parents' expectations, the club pathway, the club participation pathway, building your club's nursery, Office 365, things like that there. So you can see all the different learnings and different modules that you can access there as well. So I'm going to hand over maybe to Leah a wee second, and just Leah, maybe I'm going to ask you a question. Who, and I maybe might stop sharing my screen just 2 seconds. Who do you think should be involved in the pathway, or should be able to access the pathway is the best way of putting it? And who do you think could engage with the pathway?
Well, really, like pathway, like everybody like involved in the club and volunteer role. So like new officers, people that are already in position. So you might have some secretaries or chair people that are probably new to the role or in the role a year or two and still might not know what the role entails and stuff. People who are looking to get involved, people that want to become a secretary, maybe they're already secretary at club level and they want to progress to county or provincial. It's a great tool for them to have a look and see what the role entails, what they're going to be, what the expectation will be on them to kind of to what they need to do while they're in the role.
Yeah,
So anybody in it, in that's working in the background in football
yeah, you're 100% Leah, and that's the big thing we'd like to get across is
at all, it's there
th-
for
th-
them.
this
If they
is for
want.
everyone. It's for everyone, isn't it, Leah? It's just for anyone who wants to be involved, anyone who is involved, anyone who potentially thinks they might want to be involved. This is something for you. So I'm just going to share again the screen just to let you see what the pathway looks. So that's the landing page. You can see there's a short explainer about what the pathway is, the different phases to it, and then as I talked about earlier, the drop down menus. So we've got the activate phase, the invest phase, and the maintain phase. And we might actually go into the invest phase just to show you again what the club officer modules look like in there. So if we've got our list of modules, so you can see here we've got all the different roles available at club level, and then we'll click on getting started. We'll go to the chairperson's module, and you can see the introduction, the information about what the module is, what the objectives of that module are, so the course details, when it started, and when how long it should take you. So if we click on go to course, and hopefully this will work for us now. And we click on enter. I think I might have to share a different screen here now just to let you see this. Can you see that now, Leah?
Yeah, it's loading in.
Yeah. So there we go.
Yeah.
So you can see this is what the one of our self-led modules looks like. So we've got our role overview, and for every single officer module, we've actually taken a short video of an officer from around the country and around the association, and they've told us exactly what they do in that role. So we can see here this is one of our club chairpersons talking about what it means to be a club chairperson. When you go into the module, it'll talk about the skills, the experience, and the different requirements that you should have to be a club chairperson, and then the different roles that a club chairperson does. And you can see down the side here, there's all the different sections of the module to complete. So that's just a brief overview of what one of the modules looks like. As I said, I'll throw up the PowerPoint again just so we can look at this. So as Leah mentioned, this is for officers that are currently in positions, but it's also for potential officers that are looking to further information on what exactly the role entails. So because it's AGM season and because we're looking for new officers all the time, now it's never been a better time to actually get people involved or engaged in the pathway, because we shouldn't have a case where someone comes to an AGM and is given a position and they don't know what that involves. So they can actually go on 20 minutes and check out, and they'll come knowing whether that role's for them or not, and hopefully it will be for them. So the big thing we'd like you to do after this webinar in your own club and in your own county is try and increase the awareness of the pathway for all officers in your club, in your county. Keep it on your meeting agendas to ensure that your officers complete it over the next while. And then share the different learnings between each, and talk about it, and talk about what you've learned, and talk about, maybe you'll figure out you're doing something maybe in a different way than is best practice, and that's something to be shared and talked about as well. But that's what we'd like you to do. I know that's a very brief overview of what the pathway entails. I know it's a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but hopefully you've got a flavour of what exactly it involves now, and hopefully you'll get straight on it, and there'll be loads of online modules done over the next couple of weeks. In terms of our presentation, that's it tonight. We might take some questions now, but if you don't have any questions, we'd just like to thank you for being involved, and thanks for coming on, listening to myself and Leah for the last while, explain to you the LGFA Administrator Pathway.